Hey, just finished a little video, a real short one about the house fire. And I guess the point of that was that it's where my compassion for others outside of myself began. So the next part is we moved to East Rutherford, New Jersey. Really cute little town, homey little town. And the reason we moved there is because my father met a man that he owned a restaurant, but he needed somebody to run it. And my father jumped at the chance because he had this entrepreneurial spirit, which a lot of guys have that don't want to work for somebody else. And so this is the thing I've seen over and over and over again. Men that have a hard time with authority and they need leg room, they either go in their own business or they go in partners and they have that entrepreneurial thing. And my dad always had that. And so it's a great memory of my father. So here's the deal. The layout was there was a pizza place in the front with great big pizza ovens and a small little counter area to, for customers. It was not a sit down restaurant. It was just, pick up pizza and sub sandwiches. They didn't even call them sub sandwiches back then yet. I'm not real sure. Maybe they did. Anyway, and my father baked ziti and all kinds of macaroni. It was totally all Italian food, I think. I don't think there was anything else. And so, here's the deal: the restaurant's in the front. Now, butt up to the back of the kitchen is our kitchen where we live. So there's two kitchens together with a little wall in between, and our apartment was attached to the restaurant in the back. Now, my poor mom, my God, she's got 3-year-old Jimmy, 2-year-old Scott, and crazy 8.5-year-old, think I know the whole world by then. I was always old for my age. Me. And I guess she wasn't working yet because there's too many little kid things going on and mama care, and plus I think she was a mama to my dad sometimes. Anyway, this cool restaurant set up. Scott would be in the high chair. Okay, Jimmy be running around because he walked early. He's a real smart little pumpkin. Anyway, and then my dad, like 4 o'clock in the morning, a fish order would come in, and he'd be shelling these mussels and clams because he made this clams casino to go. I mean, he made a whole Italian like menu for all to go. So he'd be up 4 o'clock in the morning. The kitchen stunk. My mom like, hello, it smells like clams again. And he'd be sitting with the kitchen door open to the other because he'd be already having his pizza go. His doughs started and the big dough mixer, and then doing the clams and the mussels on the half shell, and it stunk. And yeah, my poor mom. And then when you get up in the mornings, Scott would be in a high chair. I'd be, getting in my dad's stuff, trying to get in the restaurant, and he wouldn't let me get in the restaurant because I wanted to just play with stuff. And one lesson I did learn, I got into like the little shakers that had the pepper in and the shakers that had the cheese in to mix them on playing with the food. And my dad said, "You want to play with food? Have a spoonful." Oh God! It's taken me like years to get over that, like that spicy thing. Never played with the food again. Never, never, never. Anyway, it was really cool. It was a time I got to see my dad. He was really trying to make it. He was sober. He was trying. He didn't have a big family like his cousin Sonny had the father backing him, and the whole family thing. They were they married Italian, okay, and it was a big family. They're always big family, and we didn't have that support from my dad. My dad was just on his own. My gram, she was always kind of tolerating my dad's efforts. So I got to go out with him and kind of be his cheerleader. He printed up had somebody type it for us, the menu, and we got in a car. We had like, I don't know, 200, I don't know how many, but we went and put them in all the mailboxes all over East Rutherford. And I think he even went to Rutherford, which was not too far away, more uppity, upscale neighborhood there. But to say call us. And my dad gave it all he had. I mean, he gave it all he had. He tried so hard in that restaurant. And yeah, anyway, it was a time where I could like hang with him and be his buddy, and I was proud of my dad. I just was, even though all that stuff, all the ups and downs, little girl who loves her daddy. The little girl always does, and it's good. And my poor mom, on the other end of it, dad's living out his dream temporarily or whatever, and my mom's taking care of 3-year-old, 2-year-old, and an 8.5-year-old. Okay, and trying to make it, trying to like figure it out. But she's nervous all the time. Here we are living in the back of a restaurant. You know what I mean? It was like must have been horrible for her, and with all of and she didn't have a normal life. Like she had two sisters, both of them had really reliable husbands that had good jobs that were more state. I don't want to say my dad was unstable, but yeah, there was a piece of that, and so my mom was always like the one people felt sorry for. I felt bad for my mom in a way. I never really knew why, but she had it rough. My mom had it rough. I mean, who doesn't have it rough in some sense? But I'm just talking about what was with me and my mom. So I didn't get to know her, and she always wanted me to be pals with my dad. She was trying. She didn't have a close relationship with her father, and she always said to me, "No, I wanted you to have a father. I wanted you to have what I didn't have." That's what we do. It's what we do. I've learned through counseling and prayers and all this generational work and all this stuff. We can't help what we do to our kids because that's the best my mom could do. And it took me years to say that because a lot of times I just, ooh, but I didn't get it. And now I look back and I see this pizza restaurant. Okay, funny story. Keep it balanced. I don't want to, make everything sad. Funny story about the restaurant. So, like, my brother Jimmy's like 3.5, or maybe just 3, like right there. And one morning he gets up and like it's like the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. We don't know exactly. I don't know. It's a mystery. And so anyway, he somehow, because my dad used to get the stick bread delivered from the bakery early, and I guess the bakery guy might have put him in the front door. People are funny about locks. If you knew a delivery guy was coming, you leave the front open. I don't know. That's kind of how it went back then, even with the fish delivery. So anyway, my brother goes through our kitchen into the restaurant kitchen, and he's after the bread because we know we found the trickles of it on the floor. And for some reason, he thought it would be nice to go for a walk. And this is a true story. Our whole family knows it. It's kind of legacy. We talk about it around the Thanksgiving table about my brother Jimmy's little walk through East Rutherford. He climbs up on there was like little a booth, the booth seats there, and he climbs up and he unlocks it and he just takes a piece of bread, goes walking down the street in the middle of the night in East Rutherford. I think it runs in his family about wandering. Anyway, and so we don't know. Everybody's sleeping. My dad's sleeping too, and because it wasn't even 4 yet. And all of a sudden, there's a knocking on the glass, and my dad gets up, and he's thinking something's wrong with one of the deliveries or whatever. My mom's panicking. Where's Jimmy? Jimmy! No, Jimmy. The police, the East Rutherford police, got Jimmy in his arm, and Jimmy's still gnawing on the bread. And it's like Jimmy's having a good time. The cop's taking care of him. He's like an outing for him, right? Like my trip to Florida, right? It's just an outing. Whatever. I'm out of here. We got him back in, and I'm in the background. I'm supposed to know what's going on. I'm like 8 years old, and my mom's already put me in charge. Like, you're supposed to know. Like, why? Because we're sharing a bedroom? I don't know. Anyway, that's a funny story about East Rutherford. What happened with the pizza place is that because my dad didn't actually own it, the other man owned it, and he kind of, I guess my father was leasing it in a sense, and they're going to share the profits, all well and good, all above board paperwork. But then a new pizza place opened up down the street. I want to say it was Nino's, but don't quote me on the name because it was so long ago. Anyway, that guy apparently had connections where he could get better prices on cheese. He could get better prices on the flour for the dough. He got better prices on everything. So he was able to undercut my dad like $2 a pie, right? And then he started making all this stuff. Then there was rumor that there was animosity towards my dad. Now, look, my dad's not of that particular family group. I'm trying to be politically correct here. And he wasn't born into that. And so my father, in good wisdom, said, maybe we ought to close the restaurant. And he talked to the guy, and the guy said, yeah. And they closed the restaurant. And we moved back to Garfield. That's the next video. It was really sad for my dad that that didn't work. His deal didn't work because he really didn't want to work at the coat factory. He didn't really want to work as a chef. He did have lots of experience at cooking, and he even went to another cooking school after this for learning how to make all kinds of elegant food, and he even learned baking, like the big tiered cakes and everything. So it was a happy time. It was also a sad time, but I got to be close to my dad for a short period while he was really working hard before life came calling. Anyway, the next video is going to be about when we moved to Garfield, because we finally settled down and we didn't keep moving, and a lot of my good memories came out of that next apartment that we lived in. Anyway, I'm not going to say goodnight and God bless before Red Skeleton, because I'm going to make another video in 5 minutes from now. All right. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.